Because the public is defective and racist judgments and it doesn't solve the problem of violence. Would you beat a person with a disability? Would you punch a person in the face who has no arms or no legs? Would you hit a person because they're black or Latino or because they're white? You can't see a mental disability, so it's okay to hit them, but if they had no legs or no arms, you'd be appalled, and you were picking on somebody who had limited ability to defend themselves. $700,000 to kill somebody legally, according to the state. How about the emotional price people pay when murdering the mentally ill or racists in Louisiana or California, who are more likely to put to death someone who is black than white, or more likely to kill someone if their victim was white? But if you were killed and you were black and your murderer gets to live, that's racist judgment, and that's flawed. However, let's talk about racism or the beating of people with mental disabilities. The death penalty doesn't deter crime. That's a false narrative. The killing people keeps us safe, and if it was true, wouldn't we have less murder by your logic? I don't believe in their logic. They're lying to us. Using money to kill people legally, that's just murder of the mentally ill. Then state-funded executions. 60% of the people do not support the death penalty. Why do we still have it? Adverse consequences do not stop behavior. Condemning people to die without knowing if they're innocent or guilty. At least 4 people on death row in each state are proven to be innocent. I do not agree with the idea that bad things come to those who deserve it. I do not want my taxpayer dollars going towards people who want to hurt the mentally ill. Encouraging murder with my money is immoral. And also, let's talk about mental illness, since we already have a broken healthcare system. People sometimes aren't capable of being deterred because they're mentally ill or mentally defective people. An emotional state also that perpetrators do not think about the possible consequences. We got to make people suffer as a false narrative and just an excuse to torture people. Anticipatory torture. Capital punishment is vengeance rather than retribution. It's a dubious concept. Punishment more severe than depriving the criminal of life. That's certainly true in the USA, but I don't know. Some countries execute people within the day of when they were sentenced to death. Vengeance on the mentally ill people is morally wrong. The odds of being sentenced to death in Louisiana is way higher if the victim was white rather than if the victim was black. So you're telling me if you kill somebody who's black, you won't get sentenced to death, but if you kill someone that's white, you'll get sentenced to death? And that's basically just racism, if we want to talk about it. So now we're judging people based on their skin color for state-funded executions that are mentally defective, and that won't solve the problem and it won't do anything, and you're just beating on people with disabilities based on their skin color, using my taxpayer dollars so that you can be racist. It costs $700,000 to kill somebody. Why don't we just leave them in the prison? And it's only $100,000 to leave them in prison. Why can't you just be kind to each other? You know, intellectual disabilities, they said it's unconstitutional to kill people with intellectual disabilities. The state of Texas killed someone who was mentally retarded, and that's morally wrong. We should have an exemption for the mentally ill.
State-funded executions.
And it's wrong to kill people. 60% of this country does not support the death penalty, so why do we still have it? Ban state-funded executions because the judgment is flawed, it's racist, and it doesn't deter violence.
State-funded executions.
Ban executing people. Stop executing people. It's racist, it doesn't deter crime, and the judgments are flawed.
Ban state-funded executions.